episode 327 of Global from Asia. Kind of in the lifestyle living category today with a friend and previous guest talking about balancing artist, DJ, Amazon marketing, and today's world.
Welcome to the Global from Asia podcast, where the daunting process of running an international business is broken down into straight-up, actionable advice. And now, your host, Michael Nicolucci.
Happy Mid-Autumn Festival. I have had a lot of dumplings and mooncakes. It's the fruit cake of Asia. All right. Anyway, I like laughing at myself. I hope I got a little chuckle out of you. We got to be a little bit easy on ourselves, you know. It's this show will be going out right in the middle of Golden Week, you know. My parents, I just talked to them. They don't even know what that is, and been out here 13 years now. But it's true. It's not as popular in the West as Chinese New Year's and other Chinese holidays, but it is a week-long time of mooncakes and dumplings and family and some crabs and sunflower seeds and TV. Anyway, I've been trying my best to enjoy it up here. I'm getting cold, and I got my father-in-law's leather jacket on because I'm just refusing to buy a whole new set of clothes because I'm going to get my clothes back from Thailand and in the Philippines. They're scattered different countries in Southeast Asia. But let's talk about this week's show. I mean, it's another transformation from this COVID-19, the year 2020, the new decade. A friend of mine, previous guest, David Nicolucci, he's talking about lifestyle. He got stuck down in Thailand during all of this, or chose to get stuck there. Well, we're all choosing where we get stuck, or we're stuck where we are now. And he's starting up a pretty interesting new business, DJ and lifestyle and artists in Thailand, which is amazing. And you might remember him earlier about his transformation from moving from Italy, his home country, to China, starting up his Amazon consulting business. Now he's in Thailand. He's still doing Amazon consulting. It's going really well. And he's also starting this new business. So we're talking about how to balance that. We're talking about learning business techniques and adding it to an artist business. So without further ado, let's dive in. And then after the show, if you want to hear my blah, 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 I will share some of my thoughts too, because there's lots to talk about being an artist and a business person. I have some of that in my sessions in some of my consulting, so maybe we can talk about that after. Let's dive in with David. We are doubling down on our community, our online community. We've been having some great online roundtables. We're working on some online masterminds. We have some really cool various technology we're using to make these events almost as cool as real life. GFAVIP.com for different packages and opportunities. Okay, thank you everybody for choosing to listen to another Global from Asia podcast. This is a follow-up podcast. Actually, man, there's so much. I think it was only 1 year ago when I looked it up. We had David Nicolucci on the show, a really good friend of mine in the community, and always helping out with what we do here. So thanks, David, for coming on.
Hey, thanks, Mike, for having me here. Yeah, I think it's been a year, but it's
really, dude, it really was. I was going to say, I was in Thailand at the time, and I think you were in Hong Kong preparing to go to Thailand or something like that, and back and forth between Thailand and Hong Kong.
I think at that time I was going back and forth, coming now, I would say, back and forth to Thailand. We had no idea about what would happen to the world in 2020, and I was kind of planning my soft approach and moving to Thailand. I was thinking about that. That's something I was considering. Definitely not for this year. Maybe
So just a little bit of background. In the last show, which I do recommend, we'll link it up in the show notes, but the last interview we had with you, you were talking about your journey from Italy and into China, and working with these big Amazon sellers and starting your own consulting agency. And it was a really great show. We got great feedback, and now this is kind of like a little bit of a follow-up, but it's more like it's a little bit different. I think I'm still deciding the title, but I think it's like leveraging business skills to launch an artist DJ brand in Thailand. That's kind of what I'm saying for today. What do you think of that?
I think this is pretty much correct. What I the cut that I want to give to my new business or new project, it would be not only for myself as a DJ and artist, but I really want to help other artists, other DJs to develop their personal brand, to understand what they need to know in order to make a better business. Because it all comes back to that. Like what are what is your average DJ and artist missing? Why they can't make it sometimes? Most of the time. Why they end up being broke when they are 40 years old and they've been following their passion. So I think I can really help them.
Great, man. That's really awesome. So yeah, for just a little bit of a quick one, I think I just gave people a quick wrap, idea of the last show.
Mm-hmm.
But you were, I think you spent quite a few years between Hong Kong and China, as work with the sellers, and you did some great training, and you've been a really great contributor in Cross Border Summit and our other events, which I always thank you for. So what was the where should we start? I guess from last time it was mid 2019, I think, when we last talked.
Yeah.
And then what's kind of happened in the last year or so?
Yeah, I guess we could connect from there to saying that how we actually were planning a lot of stuff together. You remember, man, we had this call, we were planning to do events and meetups, and then how it all fell apart and COVID-19 arrived, and it actually gave me the opportunity to settle in Thailand and take a sit back and think about what I want to do and develop more my artist side.
Yeah, which is awesome. I know you did a great webinar with us, and I think that was just in January, and we were planning some more things, and then
oh yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. So but it wasn't like your first time to Thailand. Like you were already you were making some smart. I think that's also important, right? You were investing.
Oh yeah. That's really important. I actually bought the condo where I live right now in August last year, and this became actually my secondary business, like real estate. I was renting it on Airbnb. If you remember, then even Howard Thai, he made this group of Airbnb investments. So this was something that was getting really big with other sellers as well, like a spin-off investment of many sellers actually doing Airbnb. And I'm not the only one who's doing that. For example, Henderson, I think it's Henrik Anderson from Sweden, who's living in the Philippines. He has a bunch of Airbnbs. So
awesome.
It's actually we could talk about that. It's a common thing for Amazon sellers to actually invest money that they make on Amazon, and in my case, consultants, to actually buy properties, or probably some of them they also do sub-renting properties. But the best way, of course, if you buy the property and then you list it on Airbnb. So I think we could probably talk about that, and then how all this whole thing blew up because of COVID-19.
Yeah. I mean, that does pop ahead. Obviously, I think that could be a whole show in itself. But I think the real point is it's another passive investment. I mean, nothing's really passive, but it is another stream of income. It's another way to invest money. But even now you get to live your own. I think that's even the best, right? Is I should do the same. I have a family and I'm always traveling and renting. But the best is you're gonna stay where you invest too, because then you're saving on rent and other things. So.
Yes.
So but I still think let's focus on the DJ and artist, and so you were already doing that. I think even on the last podcast you mentioned that, right? So where did this art? Were you a born artist? High school? Grade school? like.
I never studied music itself, but I think I discovered my passion for music when I was I think I was 16. I was actually browsing with my dad, some computer programs, computer video games. At that time, I was playing a lot of video games. I was a teenager, and then I wanted to do something different. And I remember I I got to know this music making little studio for young DJs, and I started composing my first music, and I really liked it. And then I don't know, I mean, definitely you would definitely remember that MySpace. I had really good feedback on MySpace. It was, you know, probably the very first bit large social networking, where actually the users would share their own music. And it was so nice. I remember I had great feedback, and then from there I started, you know, buying different softwares for making music, and starting my own parties and little events with my friends, and learning about DJing. So, and then after a while, I started, you know, taking things more seriously. And I remember I even had a few international gigs, because I've always been international, as we said in the last interview. So I've been studying in Germany and in Sweden. I lived there. Then I moved in Spain, and I made sure that every country I lived, I would actually land some gigs as DJ. So that actually helped me to know more people in this industry, and to increase my skills, and, you know, diversify my network and my skills and my sets of, you know, abilities in this way. So yeah, I think that, you know, music has always been there for me.
Awesome. That's really great. And so now you're doing, I guess we're going to say, like, balancing both, right? You're going deeper into this. It's COVID, you know, being in Thailand. What was the trigger really to kind of get more involved?
So actually, I have to be very honest. So you know me, I'm really glad that I could, you know, contribute a lot to, you know, to your community, and I've been a speaker many times. You know that I've been involved. I was involved with my soul, and with my blood and sweat, and I was really doing it 100%, 1000%. So while I was working so much into developing my own business, my consulting agency, I really didn't have time to work on my music. And this is something that I was really missing, starting from when I went in China, when I moved in China, and I started working with Chinese sellers. Because actually, what I didn't say is actually that after living in Sweden and Germany, when I moved in Barcelona, I mean, Barcelona is a great city for artists. You have a lot of events, you have a lot of, you know, things going on, and a lot of parties.
Okay, cool.
So there I actually leveled up my DJ skills even more, and my personal branding, because I started cooperating with big names such as Fashion TV. We did some shows with a model management agency. We had support by Fashion TV. We were playing at Hotel W, and then I was playing with other big groups. And those groups, they were organizing parties at Pacha, for example. So, you know, one of the top venues in the world. So I started gaining some more exposure, but then I consciously made the decision to give it up, to put it on the side, because I wanted to focus 100% on my business. And I wasn't only doing it for money, because we have to be honest, a lot of DJs don't make money, even though you might cooperate with those big venues, but you don't make money unless you start making your own parties, or you have your own record label, and it's really, really going well. Or you have your own booking agency for DJs, or you have your own club. So if you're just a DJ, you don't make money. So as an artist, and I realized that, and I said, okay, I want to you know, invest more in my marketing skills, because I was a marketing manager in the daytime, full time. So I moved in China, and we talked already about that. I worked a lot, and I made my own business. And with this COVID, I moved in Thailand, where I already have this place that I bought with the money that I made with pretty much 2 or 3 years of consulting on Amazon for Amazon sellers. So, you know, the business was really good. I got this place. It was supposed to be an investment, but then no one really could rent this place on Airbnb. So I said, okay, I'm just going to live here. And I had a lot more free time. So I said, why don't I just go back to making music and, you know, playing as DJ, organizing parties? So I actually went back to the DJ life, and the feedback was really good at the beginning. It's not easy to actually reposition yourself after you've been out of the business for so long, because 5 years is really long. So, also some of, let's say, people in the same space, they might not look at you very happily. They would feel like they would feel this competition, or like, who are you? Why are you coming back now to this, to the music industry? What you want to do? You should start everything from zero. So it's pretty much the same thing, but it was appreciated overall. I already landed some gigs in some of the most important clubs here in Phuket. So yeah, this actually gave me the opportunity to start being an artist again. And the very interesting thing that happened is that I realized that I was approaching this thing in a very different way than how I used to do it, let's say 5 years ago, when I was still very well positioned. I was having some gigs in nice places, but I wasn't able to take a look at the large picture, at the big picture, because I didn't pretty much understand anything about business, about making good business relationships, about how to generate more money with what you do. And I know that for an artist, this is something, it's like a taboo. You don't really talk about this because artists, they are so proud of the fact that they make music because it's a passion, but at the end of the day, you need to pay your bills. And also, it's I would say that it's a kind of recognition to an artist, the fact that it's getting more money when he goes to perform somewhere. So this definitely has something to do also with recognizing the value of the artist. So I actually realized, yes, having this business background, having this business experience, and experience with working with Chinese companies, and as I wrote in the article about Chinese sellers, this mindset that I actually learned in China, and a lot of us learn, and a lot of us have shared also during your events, the mindset of I can make it too. It actually really pushed me to do something bigger. So now I'm not just, stopping myself at being a DJ, but I'm already starting, developing a business here and starting some new events.
Yeah, it's true. I totally, just to recap, that was great. That was some great insights there. But it's true. I got most of my business chops here in China, and the school of hard knocks almost, man. The knocks can be pretty hard. So just in bargaining, right? Just getting contracts and deals with Chinese sellers or Chinese companies is a strategy in itself. So I like that insights, and it's good that now you can apply those insights. This is what you're saying, is you can apply towards artists and DJs, and for you're doing it with your own business, and you're also helping other artists and DJs, because a lot of them, like you said, have no business background. I think I even fall on the artist side too. I think you might, as an artist, they like to create and make, and they don't like to, sell or do business and market. I like marketing, but marketing. So can you give us maybe some examples? I guess, like, some notes I have, or doing it for a lot don't do it for money, right? They just do it for their passion, and it's like a hobby.
Yeah. So when I restarted here, as I said, I was looking at things in a very different way. I was like awakened. I was looking at this, artist world. Yeah, I was like, wow, I am the one. I'm the chosen, because I was looking at everything in a complete different way, with a different, very, very different frame in my mind. And for example, when a DJ plays his music, it sometimes, even if it's a good DJ, it doesn't realize that it's making a mistake with the music selection, because in that particular moment, probably some of the people don't like that music. They would like to have a different kind of music. So actually, this would make a big problem for the bar owner, because if the customers don't like the music, they could potentially leave. So the bar owner doesn't make money. And of course, it's not good in a business point of view, because you need money to sustain all of your costs and, to bring on your business. So this is actually a mistake from the DJ point of view, because it could happen sometimes that the customers don't like that music, or some of the highest spending customers, probably they want to have a different music selection, and you would have to, make them happy by playing this music, or even you would have to, as a DJ, you would have to take care of your personal branding by trying to work on these personal relationships, not only with the club owner, with the other DJs, with the agencies, but also and especially with the customers, because they are, at the end of the day, those who give the money to bring this business on. Because without customers who spend money on drinks, the business would not exist. So this is also something very important. And a lot of artists would say here, yes, but they come to listen to me. But this doesn't apply to the majority of artists, to 90% of artists out there, because you are not famous enough to have people actually really coming only for you. So as an artist, you have to evaluate where you are right now. Sometimes I see that artists, because they have an artist mind, an artist approach, they think that what they do is the best, but this is not the case. And this is something that you understand in a humble way if you start making business, because when you do business, you have an immediate feedback that is money. How much money you're making? Okay, are you able to survive? Is your startup, able to survive with or without investment? Are you actually making a profit, or you're making a loss? And a business cannot sustain itself for too long with making a loss. So this is a very immediate feedback. You need to make money to sustain your business. You need to always grow. But as an artist, sometimes you accept the fact that you're not making money now. You would maybe make money tomorrow, and then you develop, you work on your music, and you hope that someone will find your music interesting, etc. So this is definitely one of the first advice that I can give to the artist. And then, and then I learned a lot about digital marketing. So I learned a lot about how to make a community, how to get a Instagram page with more followers, Facebook page, how to work with Facebook groups, and this definitely helps. So it's a different, it's very different skill set that I had acquired during the past years, and they're definitely helping me. And there are a few DJs here who are asking me for help, and I'm trying to help them as much as I can. But also, for example, just working on your own personal press kit. It's something really important for an artist to have a press kit, and you should really know how to make it. You should know how to get good photos for yourself, how even to edit a file, make a simple PDF with the logos of the parties or the events or the clubs you work with, or with the other support that you have, and how to write a good biography, how to showcase what you can do. So this is also very important, and many artists, they have absolutely no idea of how to do these little things.
Okay, this is interesting. So let's talk about this venture. Do you the name or the structure, or like how you're running it?
Yeah, so I don't have a name yet for my new business, for my new project.
Wow. So new, man.
Yeah. It's this is still in the back of my head. I do have a name for our first event, because the first thing that I want to try, as we have this situation of COVID-19, the club owners, they are more open to try different events. So this is actually opening doors to new promoters like me. And so I thought I could try with one event. So the first event that we're doing is called Ibiza Vibes. I'm trying to bring the Ibiza style parties and promotion in here in Phuket, and the Ibiza kind of music, because I used to live in Spain, in Barcelona. I was going to Ibiza very often, so I love the atmosphere there. Actually, my first time in Ibiza was even before moving to Spain. Because for us, Ibiza is it's like the place to be. You have to be there. If you're a DJ, if you're a club goer, you really have to be there.
Okay.
So this actually came from the feedback that I had while I was playing my Ibiza style music at other events and location here in Phuket. So I said, okay, something like this is missing, so I'm going to recreate it. And but the name of the business, of the agency, is not there yet. But I'm thinking to open a company in Thailand by next year, and to go more aggressively with that. So I will probably I'll probably build a team. I'm already starting to build a team for my events. I already have some people helping me. I'm also hiring videographers, photographers, other DJs to make the events. But I will definitely make up a team as the one that I have in Hong Kong, and I will make a team here in Thailand to actually start up this new agency. Because also talking about opening a company in Thailand, it's a little bit different than Hong Kong. It's a little bit more complicated in theory. Yeah, in theory, because you have to hire, what is it, like 4 or 5?
I think 6 even in my mind.
So yeah, someone told me 5, and then they said for each foreigner that you put into Thailand, into the board, for each foreign name, you need a 2 million baht investment. And this is not, a little investment. In Hong Kong, it was so easy, at least until I opened my company in 2017, and I know that it's getting harder and harder by the time. But it was easy to get the company done. It was not easy to get the bank account and to get my visa, but eventually I could make it in 1 year. I guess that here is going to be faster, but you have to spend more money at the beginning. So this is my what I think about Thailand right now.
It is very, I've planned to go back too, and I was there almost a couple of years, and I mean that's why we talk about Hong Kong a lot. I mean, Hong Kong or Singapore is also very popular. They're much more open to international and online business. But yeah, I mean, mostly everywhere else, well, not just in Asia but around the world, is not as international and open for company setup and immigration. Long-term immigration is another. I guess you mentioned it a little bit with the visa and the foreigners. Yeah, it is a very, very tricky one. But I don't want to dive into this one too much for this show. But let's keep moving forward. So this is really exciting to me. And so you got your Ibiza vibes, Asia. I've never been to Ibiza, man. I can't believe that.
Oh, really?
On my list. So many places to go. But okay. So that's the first party, and then you're working on this you're gonna have other DJs on, so other artists. So that's kind of like the direction, right? You're kind of like managing parties and managing DJs and artists under like an agency.
So technically the agency is my own agency in Hong Kong that is taking care of everything. All the expenses, all the management, all even documents where we're preparing are officially signed by my agency in Hong Kong. Because being a marketing agency, for us, it isn't not so different from our scope of work to actually make some events. And when you have an agency in Hong Kong, when you have a business in Hong Kong, you can pretty much operate internationally. So it doesn't really matter what you do where. So this is really a benefit of having a company in Hong Kong. I mean, it's really heaven. You can really do a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so many people use it in business in China or Southeast Asia like you, and trading and, online and offline business for sure. That's really...
Yeah. So I think this is amazing. I can still, do my operations using the name of my company. And also getting back at, difference between me and a normal artist. This puts me in a much better level than a random DJ who introduced himself with his name and surname. I mean, I'm coming here, I'm presenting myself as an agency owner. And when I send the documents, like a proposal for an event, it's signed by this agency. And then if they go look at this agency, they see, okay, they're doing e-commerce. It doesn't really fit with events, but we are official partners of Amazon advertising. So we have big names, we have big clients. So this is definitely giving us a better recognition than just being, someone who could come out of the blue and present himself, introduce himself just with name and surname. Okay, maybe you played here or there, but so it has definitely a positive aspect to work with my company from Hong Kong. So technically, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And so the first event is Ibiza Vibes. So you want to say that, but this is not going to be the only one, because I want to recreate different events for different kind of vibes and atmospheres. So Ibiza Vibes is more for house lovers, house music. Then I want to do something with techno music and something different in different locations. So this is just the beginning, I think.
Okay, very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah.
So I think we talked about this last show, but I always like to ask this, I think, again, you're probably amazing a lot of listeners. There's so many people in the world that still are, I don't want to offend them if they're that person, but, they're still like waiting or wondering or preparing or learning, to take that jump, to take that leap. You left Italy or you came to China, now you're going into Thailand, you're getting this second agency going. What would you say, I guess you also have been learning and applying what you learned to the next thing and growing, right? I mean, what would you say is somebody wanting to kind of to follow in these footsteps to do something like this?
I would say just don't wait. I have so many friends or, just people on my social media asking me, how did you do it? What should I do? What is, the skills that I should develop? Or when should I make it? Or I don't know if I'm ready. If you feel like you want to do it, just go for it. And this is actually something that I always had in my own character. I never been a kind of person who would wait for something to happen. I would rather push it myself, and I would rather fail than wait for the miracle to happen, wait for something to fall down from the sky. So I would just say, just go for it. Of course, don't expect big steps at the beginning, or something too big to happen to you. But yeah, go step by step and do things little by little. Don't be afraid. And the only person that can prevent you from doing anything is yourself. So yeah. I am a strong believer in this. So yeah, this is my encouragement to anyone who who's listening, who's looking for inspiration to do something, to finally start something, even a side business. So just go for it.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, I think we're obviously we are similar. We're taking action and doing it, but of course, there's obviously so many failures and mistakes, and probably things you or I could have done better in this path. But the point is, we're taking action, we're moving forward, we're learning, we're adjusting, right? I mean, I think I literally talked to somebody yesterday that's trying to get into e-commerce. Actually, he's a really experienced business owner, more traditional B2B. Mm-hmm. And I even called him out on it. It was during one of the GFA VIP calls, and I just said, "Hey, man, like, we just do it." Like, he's trying to have I guess he's also a very technical engineering guy, and a really nice guy.
Yeah.
But he's like, I can tell he's like kind of like writing it down, taking a checklist, trying to make it. It's about. I don't know. Maybe I don't. I'll speak for myself. Maybe I'm a little bit too extreme about doing things so fast, but I do think you got to have the right balance as well. Okay, so all right, David. I think that's really all I had. I know you're super busy, man. Running 2 agencies. How has that been going? I mean, do you feel okay? You're I guess you're loving it. You're a hustler. You make things happen. You always got so much energy. I'm really happy for you, man. I wish you the best. How can people connect with you or find you online, or we could link it up?
Yeah, I guess people already know me for my business. So we are growthhack.com. That's still my main business. What keeps me busy at least 6 hours a day. It's going great. I have great guys with me in my team. They're learning a lot, so I'm really, really grateful. So you can connect with me through my website. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. The big struggle of actually dividing myself into 2 people that are not, now you understand the link in between those 2 figures. But if someone sees my Instagram, for example, they would say, this is not really a person who's doing Amazon consulting, because I'm dividing my social media channels, and I should probably do a better division. I'm using Instagram for events and artists and DJ related stuff. So I even post my Beatport channel, for example, so where people can buy my music, or about music labels who release my tracks. And so that's my Instagram, personal Instagram. Then I have Instagram for my consulting business, We Are Growth Hack. And then I have an Instagram page for my event. So Ibiza Vibe Asia. You can find that on Instagram. It's also linked to my Instagram profile. And on my Facebook, my personal Facebook, I'm just keeping it for business, for Amazon consulting, for marketing.
Okay.
And then we
I
have
hear
the
you, dude.
Facebook page, LinkedIn. Yeah.
I agree with you though. I think I'm like you too, man. Like now it's true to your personal brand and having I do a lot of businesses as well, and it really does confuse people. I think that is probably one of the biggest
Yeah.
challenges. But I think you're doing it though. You're integrating it, and I think it's cool. Like, some people try to separate and keep one total, like, have split personalities, but you're just embracing it. And I think that's the way to do it, in my opinion. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually had someone asking me, so are you still working on your business? Are you just being a DJ right now? Of course not. Come on. I still have to pay my bills. And, when you used to have that kind of life as an agency owner living in Hong Kong, your bills are much higher than a DJ who lives in Thailand. So I want to keep the same standard of life. So I'm definitely going on with my business. So yeah, I had this kind of questions. Are you still doing it or not? Of course I'm doing it. So I think it's better to do a little bit of separation for those two things. And then maybe make some different pages in the future.
True. All right, Dave, I really always appreciate you sharing on a podcast and in the community.
Thank you.
And everything. Thanks so much for coming on today.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Do you enjoy this show? A lot of you, we all need content. We all need creating. And, this is an artist show. And if you want us to help creating your content, we help others with their podcasts, with their blogs, with their creation projects. Contentinvestments.com is the best place to check it out. You can see some different packages, or we can do some custom deals with you. Talk to our client services there at contentinvestments.com. Thank you, David. That was pretty funny. That was funny and entertaining. And I hope everybody's getting a little kick out of this stuff. I mean, we had a pretty cool webinar last week. We tried a US time friendly and a Asia Europe time friendly one in the middle of the week last week. The best way to find out about those is subscribing to our newsletter at globalfromasia.com/subscribe, because it's really hard to keep everybody on the podcast up to date about, these kind of webinars and other things we're doing. So the newsletter is where you get that kind of updates. And there was some people we were talking in a Q&A. We had some these virtual roundtables and discussions, and a lot of my friends back in the US just asking, like, how is it in China? How are things? And I think we just gotta be less hard on ourselves. We're all, there's this whole pent up anger or energy, or our lives are changing, businesses are changing, and I just said, I'm trying to not be too hard on myself. Getting a lot of work done, honestly. But let's talk about what I said in the intro. Some of my experiences being an artist. We talk about this with e-commerce a lot, or I talk about it. I was an organizer, a facilitator at Startup Week in China, helped to get that going in China quite a long time ago, maybe almost 10 years ago now. And there's team building in tech startups. There's usually the tech co-founder and the business co-founder. Maybe there's a designer, UI, or growth hacker co-founder maybe. But I think in e-commerce business, there's two. I call it the artist and the garbage man. I kind of made it up. I mean, maybe even heard me say that on one or two other podcasts. But the artist is the one that knows the product, maybe knows the user, knows the industry, but might not be good at the Excel, the number crunching, the financials, the cash flow. That's usually the garbage man. And the garbage man can actually be a great e-commerce seller without the artist, because the garbage man can just look at data and look at numbers, and especially on Amazon and marketplaces can just find opportunities, and they don't need to really know the product. And I don't know, maybe you're not agreeing with me, but I feel like you can make a really good amount of money without really even really caring about the product. And I don't like to say that, but I think that is very important in e-commerce, to know your numbers, know your market, and finding holes in the marketplace to just thinking of the word. I'm thinking exploit. Maximize that opportunity, fill that gap. But I'm definitely on the artist side. Even David talking about it there. I'm thinking, I just do what I like to do. I like to know the user. I like to know the market. I like to create these podcasts, create content. But like he says, you have to have a business either you have to do it yourself or you have to have a co-founder. Like I remember Gary Vee talking about this once. Like if you're not willing to sell and to get yourself out there, then you have to give up half your company to somebody that's willing to do that with like a tech co-founder, a business co-founder. So I think here is a similar thinking, right? If you're a DJ, an artist, a podcaster, a blogger, a author, a creator, which I feel like I mostly am, you have to start to switch yourself into that other side of your brain. You have to kind of do that work, asking for money, asking people to, like support what you do or join what you're involved with or be part of what's happening, But I think a lot of creators, even programmers or creators or artists, they're the ones making the thing. I don't like to ask. I don't like to try to get somebody else to, I have to justify to them and prove to them that what I'm making or what I have is worth their, time or money to do, like I think we just like to create and make, and if people like it, hopefully they like it. We want people to like it and then use it or pay for it or get involved with it. But I think what Dave is saying is thinking of as an artist, as a creator, thinking of the business as you make it, thinking of how are people going to use it, how are people going to pay for it, why would somebody want it, how will it support you and the team that is needed to create this, right? And I've been growing up. I'm almost 40 now, if you can believe it. I know I look like a teenager, some people say, or a 20-year-old, but we have to, kind of suck it up as an artist, as a creator. We have to be willing to put ourselves out there and show what we're making and ask people to support it, financially, because that's really the way to make it a business. And honestly, I've been breaking through. I mean, if you were on a webinar last week, a few of you actually joined our membership after, which was really awesome. I'm lucky to have great people on our team now helping us with the community and the sales and the business development and client services. So that's been helping me too, because I still have issues asking people to help me or give me something. I think that's maybe that's probably what an artist is. My middle name is Angelo. I'm Michelangelo, the Ninja Turtle. No, not the Ninja Turtle. The artist in Italy. That's my. The story there is, my grandmother was an artist, a painter. She had some of those. I think my parents still have them in their house in Florida. Painting a lot. She's from Russia, on my Russian side. I know I got the Italian name, but my grandmother was Italian. I mean, not Italian, was Russian, and my grandfather was Italian. That's and my mother's side is French Canadian. If you're interested in that. But they nicknamed my dad because my grandmother was such a great artist. His friends named him Michelangelo, and so that name moved on to me. And I do feel like I'm the modern day internet artist, creator of this podcast and blogs and videos and events and community. But we know we have to suck it up as artists, and we have to think of business, and we have to make money. And this was a long, roundabout way to say maybe you guys can join us and support us with our membership and our events. We're really, really investing a lot, working really hard to make more online events, more online community, online membership for those that really want to get inside. I've kind of been adding gfavip.com in our little ad slots on these shows. And it's been great, though. Some of you have been taking me up on that offer, and it would be awesome if you could, because just kind of ending this show with what David says, you have the artist, but you have to have the business. You have to make the business, and to support this show, we're over 300 shows now, 327. A great way is to become a member and support it. And there's a couple different pricing options and different ways, but I think I'm going to leave it off at that. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this show. Michael Michelini here, or Michelangelo Michelini, signing off.
To get more info about running an international business, please visit our website at www.globalfromasia.com. That's www.globalfromasia.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our iTunes feed. Thanks for tuning in.